Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and guys, I need your help exposing the mainstream media yet again. NBC News last night debuted a news documentary entitled A Marriage on Trial, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and Truth in the Age of Social Media. And guess who they featured, guys? Popcorn Planet, Laura B, me, we made an appearance on NBC News last night. Oh my goodness, my parents are going to be so excited. Let's hear the mainstream media be honest and tell us the truth. Here we go. Let's see how we were brought into this.
You also had segments of YouTube that had never covered anything even close to this trial, all of a sudden pivoting, people going from fewer than 100,000 subscribers to over 500,000 subscribers in a matter of weeks.
I really don't know anything about this.
Wait, what? Did she just say what I think she said? Did she just tell me that
a bad actress.
You also had segments of YouTube that had never covered anything even close to this trial.
Clearly you don't watch our channel, and weirdly enough, Kat, you spoke to me. That's weird. The person who's speaking is actually Kat Tenbarge, who is the NBC tech and culture reporter. Now, I know you didn't edit this documentary. I hope you didn't suggest me when they asked, well, which places should we cover? We've had a few back and forths. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you didn't do it, but as I recall, we had a conversation. In fact...
Is it okay with you if I record just for transcription purposes?
Yeah, we can totally record. It's fine.
Awesome.
Awesome indeed, because you know what, Kat? I'm kind of getting sick of this narrative you're putting out there, this idea that you are better than us, and I'm over it. Kat, if you're unfamiliar with her, is an NBC. Please leave her alone. Let me say my piece, just like she's been trying to say her piece. Let me tell you a little bit about this Kat Tenbarge before we get to my clips to prove the truth about her thoughts on this case. Here she is calling out Emily, Legal Bites, Nick for making money on covering the trial. Now, I could speak for these people in that I did the same thing, in that I watched this trial every day. We were doing the research. We were doing a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and we were happy to do it, and we were all very informed. And honestly, these three were probably even more informed than me because they're lawyers. Okay, and they were choosing to cover it for people, and yes, they took tips, and yes, they watched, and yes, people tuned in. A lot of people tuned in because this was a very interesting case. Now, she was out there calling this out. Taylor Lorenz and others have been calling her out. Taylor is a friend, I guess, of Kat because they mention her a lot. In fact, here are some tweets Kat put out there about the misinformation campaign because, you know, the Washington Post has not been dishonest at all, no, right? Let's look at this article that featured, oh wait, editor's note, correction, and all the lies that Taylor Lorenz did in this article in the Washington Post. Let's not also forget the Washington Post, which posted the defamatory op-ed in the first place and still has it up. The Washington Post, who has monetized on both of these pieces, and we have no idea how much they've made. But no. Let's put our outrage on YouTubers and the money they're making. Why? Are you threatened, Kat? It sure looks that way to me. But no, Kat's out there talking about what she's learned. The media literacy around this trial was abhorrent, as was that documentary that apparently on your network, the mainstream media you trust just lied about me, Kat. Are you going to offer a correction? Are they going to go edit that? Can I sue for defamation? I don't like my site being featured in there. Did you? Who told them? Should we find out? Because let's talk about the media literacy here. You keep going on. As Adam Waldman testified, YouTubers and social media played an overwhelming role in the perception of this trial. He testified in that internet journalists actually were reporting the truth, which is what they were. Washington Post wasn't. You weren't. You were focused on your own little reports. In fact, I got proof of it. We're going to get there in a second. But people consume the news from content creators, specifically news around this case, believe it more trustworthy than the mainstream media. I wonder why. Because the UK case, everything else was all corrupt. We're going to talk about all that in a second. All right, so here she is trying to just go through and pitfall going to YouTubers and coverage is that these creators aren't beholden to any editorial standards or journalistic norms. In fact, they're incentivized to break them to fit the narrative and make money. Now, I assume this is why she didn't want to put me in her piece, the piece that she wrote here, talking about how YouTube creators are pivoting their video. When she spoke to me, I enlightened her on a lot of topics, and she chose to ignore me. Why? Because she knew this was bullshit for all the major creators out there. She just knew it. She had to focus on some outlier creators that, yes, as I even admitted to her, yeah, there was a bunch of channels that just suddenly started posting montages or had one viral clip. But let's talk about the real coverage, right? If you really want to cover the news that competed with you, right? The two people to talk to are all the people in this picture right now. And Law and Crime, which is a YouTube channel that didn't even offer commentary. If you actually watched the views of all the people online, these three, plus Law and Crime, plus me, were the top 5 networks covering the Johnny Depp trial. Okay? So you spoke to one of them. You spoke to someone who not only covered it, but you spoke to somebody who's been in this space, I suspect, longer than you have. And you spoke to me. We had a nice conversation. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, Kat. But I continue to see you out there. I see you now and others in this documentary, which we're going to go through live. I want to break down this whole documentary.
A lot of times jurors, whether male or
this
female...
This lawyer's against Elaine is their witness. What?
Oh, she cried. What's wrong with these people?
She didn't cry, actually.
Stand and face the jury.
TikTok, and there wasn't
this
trial.
We had the People in Magazine who's been anti-Johnny.
The judge would instruct them each night not to do any additional research.
This is a long proceeding spanning 2 months. I just think it's unrealistic to think that the jurors stayed off of social media.
And once you're on them, you can't avoid it.
This monster of...
So we're going to come back to Doha, but this, Elaine and everybody's saying, oh, well, the jury, they went on the internet. Elaine's also saying on NBC News, ironically, well, there's all this evidence that we didn't get to put in, that the legal team prohibited, including Amber's doctor notes. So Elaine, which is it? Because by your standards, there was evidence that the jurors could go and look online that would make Amber innocent, right? I thought it was a mountain of evidence, right? All this evidence, the UK trial, which you weren't allowed to talk about, her winning, all of that stuff would be stuff the jurors would see online. You can't have it both ways. And all these people are spinning you a false narrative that the internet tricked the case. Whether the jury was on or not, they had the opportunity to see both sides of the case. And I believe they chose to do the right thing. And even if someone did go online, they had equal opportunity to see Amber's side online, just like they did Johnny's. So this is nonsense. But here you have senior breaking news reporter, NBC. You want to see how biased this senior news reporter is?
Algorithms at play, where even if you've never followed Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, you were inundated on your social media feeds with aspects of this trial.
And so the way that people got so much of the action from the courtroom was through these videos on social media platforms.
TikTok just went crazy. The ability to do short films mocking someone or giving your opinion about something is what TikTok is, and they certainly did.
Leaned back.
They did.
Of what's aimed at Miss Heard is something remarkable. Can you imagine being a survivor and seeing the mockery that she's endured?
If you actually watched it live on YouTube, there's a live feed, and every comment I saw while I was watching it for 6 weeks were pro-Depp.
So I love what this is. So if you're mocking her, you're mocking all victims now is what they're trying to tell you. Also, if you watched it live and you actually were watching the trial, oh my God, they're all just biased towards Johnny Depp. So if you do the homework, or you do the homework and then you mock the person who's caught lying, who a jury found caught lying, we're all the bad people here is what this is. So this whole documentary was insane. I do want to mention one other moment here. Here's the senior breaking correspondent reacting. Oh no, it's live. She's the breaking reporter. And she's doing an interview as this is all happening, and she's ill-informed to it all.
13 hours, verdict delivered, delayed. He won. Okay.
Look how pissed she is.
That's gonna be an interesting fallout for a lot of domestic abuse survivors.
Oh, there it is. No, clearly didn't watch the trial, wasn't even watching the jury. This is your breaking news correspondent at NBC reacting because she's too busy doing an interview for NBC's documentary so she can give you her biased reaction. I can't even. These people are this is why we don't trust you. You want to call me biased? Hello, look in the mirror, ladies. What are you doing? So let's go back to Kat. Who apparently, again...
You also had segments of YouTube that had never covered anything even close to this trial.
Okay, that's a lie. I'm going to say you didn't edit it. I hope you didn't give them the clips. But let's talk about Kat, right? Because Kat put this piece out talking about how we're all pivoting. She focused on these outliers. She interviewed people like me, and she got me on the phone. she's been anti us for a long time. She's been against us for a long time, as I've sort of shown here, is Taylor's articles, etc. She's even out doing interviews now. She's making this all about herself. She clearly wants to be social media influencer and a news person, and that's what I sense is there's a little bit of jealousy. That's my take. But let's break down this interview. Now, this is unedited. I'm pointing some clips out, but there's no trickery. In fact, I'll watch the full video with you today live, along with more portions of that NBC mockumentary later today in our live. In fact, before we play these clips, I hope you will consider subscribing, because yes, we do keep it real, and they're nervous of us, so hit the bell so you get alerted, smash the like so you can help get the engagement, share this video, and leave a comment down below on your thoughts so far, as well as what your thoughts are on this cat interview that I'm about to drop. So here we are. Here she is interviewing me, okay?
So going into sort of like your channel now, what like led you to create Popcorn Planet, and what would you describe the channel as?
Now, I answered this question and explained it more, my background, my false accusation, etc., why I was invested. I gave her a lot of big interests, but I wanted to just show you the end of my answer rather than all my long answers. Myself, and with that fresh perspective, I wanted to just be more real about, I think, the media's coverage of things, because I don't believe the media is always being honest. And so Popcorn Planet sort of grew, and the voice of it, I think, has grown over time, of just sort of, whatever the pop culture events are of the moment, we try to cover it with a more real perspective without any sort of fear of what the studios or, certain people are going to think. We want to just keep it honest and raw, but also fair and civil and respectful.
That makes a lot of sense.
Glad to have your approval.
So with the trial and your coverage of it, would you say that this is getting more traction than the other things that you cover on the channel?
I mean, I think Will Smith's Slapgate got a lot of coverage. I mean, the Gabby Petitio case back in the fall got a lot of coverage. I mean, it depends. There's pop culture goes up and down. There are huge moments in pop culture fandom. Tiger King was huge last year. I mean, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. There's always those water cooler moments. And I think instead of TV shows now, it's events and big, pop culture moments now, because with streaming, we lose that ability to watch it all at the same time. And I think the Johnny Depp trial has become, in a weird way, the best Netflix show, on TV right now, where I think everyone is just really engrossed. And I think a lot of people were ignorant to the reality of the case. And I think we're shrugging off as, oh, they're both crazy. But when as someone who's covered this trial for a while, I'm not just following Johnny as a stan. I'm following Johnny because of the evidence. I think Amber is a terrible person. I don't believe her, and I'm happy others are finally seeing her lies and what she's been caught in. And so I think it's been a whirlwind of a lot of reasons why I think this has caught the world's attention. But sure, I mean, is there a lot of people tuned in? Absolutely, but I think it's for some good causes.
Yeah, definitely. And as somebody who has been on YouTube for a long time and really knows the ins and outs of YouTube, do you think that there's anything unusual or particularly interesting that stands out to you about this moment, or maybe even just the trajectory of how these big entertainment events kind of capture entire platforms in conversation?
I mean, I think this is the first time we've had a world celebrity, famous man acknowledge that he was abused. And I think, on my channel, we have a lot of domestic violence survivors. My audience is mostly women now, and they really connect to him and they feel for him, because we've had streams where DV survivors are sharing their experiences, and it's making me, they make me cry, and their genuineness, the realness. And I think Amber Heard is really acting, and I think she's not being honest, and I think it's triggering a lot of people who are watching to see that men can go through this too. I think we went through the MeToo movement, which was incredibly important, but I think was, completely one-sided at times, where we weren't really sort of looking at both sides fairly and focusing on due process. We focus sometimes on the social media mob instead of what happened, and the nuances of what happened. And so I think this case has been, I think there's been a lot of bottled up things of people wanting to really get to the bottom of real cases and not just what the media. I mean, this case is so corrupt. I mean, the leader of Time's Up was caught. Just remember, wait for her response. Remember everything I'm saying here. Covering up Cuomo's victims. she was repping Amber Heard. Like, if you really go deep in this case, I think a lot of people are just angry and fed up. And I think Johnny, while many may criticize him for exposing all this, I think he had to. If he hadn't have done this, the media and just most people would have just written him off as what Amber painted him. And I think it's much more complicated, and Amber is a lot more guilty than she wants to admit. Definitely.
And so that's a very good, I think, like, overall take on the situation. So I'm grateful for your sort of like description of that.
Oh, it's a good take. Did you guys hear that? Kat agreed with me. Definitely. Yes. That's a really good take on things. Just that alone torches your whole... Where do you stand? Because on Twitter, and you've told me privately, it seems you're an Amber Heard supporter. You believe her, even now. I don't understand it. But yet you just tricked me? You're like trying to get me to play along? Is that how the media does this? You're not honest in your reporting? Yeah, definitely. That's a great take. Can you believe that? That was the reality of the phone call I had. A couple more portions. Like, Amber Heard assumed the media and the world would just believe and support her like it always has. And I think a lot of people are finally refreshed to see that it's not going the way she thought it would, that she is being exposed for not being honest.
Yes. Yeah.
Her truth is being it's not about her truth, it's about the truth. And I think we've heard too many stories about my truth and your truth and whatever. There's a truth, and there's audio tapes, and there's evidence, and it's really starting to make the picture quite clear that Amber Heard is not being honest.
Yes. And those were pretty much all of the questions I had related to sort of like the algorithm and the topic at hand.
Okay. Sorry, one more port here. Pooped in a bed. It's hard to not laugh at that. It's kind of hard to not laugh and just go to the craziness of some of these things when Amber Heard pooped on Johnny Depp's bed.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's definitely true.
Awesome. Okay, well, these were all of the questions that I had. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, we just wrap up simply. No, happy to help. I'll check it out. No problem until she's continued to put this narrative out there that we can't be trusted. Well, I thought I could trust you. Now, granted, you didn't put my interview out there. Okay, you didn't misquote me. Okay. NBC News just did. They did on a pretty global scale. This is pretty damning.
YouTube that had never covered anything even close to this trial.
I mean, that doesn't make me happy. And you're also out there as a talking head in this.
Pivoting, people going from fewer than 100,000 subscribers to over 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah, because we did good reporting. Are you implying something else, Kat? I'm done with this. Stop calling us out, or we're going to call you out back. And we keep receipts. This is ridiculous. And I've offered you on the channel. I've tried to have a conversation with her. They don't want to have conversations. Why? Kat, please, if I'm miscorrect or you want to clarify something, open invite. Hit me up. You have my DMs. It's open. I've tried to get you on the show. I've tried to, guys. She doesn't want to. Taylor, I've tried to with her. I'd love to have conversations. I'll have conversations. They don't want to have conversations. Which media outlet do you want to trust? The one that's going to let someone actually call in, anybody call in to share their point of view, or the one that's going to just be in a little bubble telling you their report and their biases? Because that's why they're coming to us, Kat, because they can get to know us. They do trust me more than you. And I'm sorry if that offends you or threatens you in any way, but I don't know what to do anymore. I'm going to call it out when I see it, and you just got called out. And I'm sick of this narrative you're pumping out there, trying to encourage and shame us like we shouldn't be monetized. In fact, you want to show Kat and others the wrong way? Hit that super thanks below. There's a super thanks. You can monetize us now. How about my Cash App? It's @, Andy Signore. This is a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, and I know a lot of you appreciate it. So thank you for supporting us and putting your money where you want to watch. That's how it works. That's how it's going to work in the future. You do you, Kat. I'm going to do me. How about you focus on you moving forward and leave us alone? Because you're not the story. But you want to make us a story. I don't know why. But that's my take. We're going to watch the full interview today live. If you've never caught a live, please join us. We're here live every weekday. It's going to be awesome today. We got a lot to go through. That NBC mockumentary as well as more of Kat's full interview. You're not going to miss it. I'll put a link there to join us on our stream today. It'll be a little later, probably around 3:30 p.m. Join us then, please, guys. And stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Planet.